I want to start this session off with a quick clip from the movie Pig. I was introduced to this clip by Dave Aranda. Why are you smiling?
Just don't know what to expect.
You don't know what to expect. That's what's beautiful. It's unscripted. So I'm going to show this to you, and I just want to know how you all relate to it.
This is the kind of cooking you like?
It's cutting edge. It's very exciting.
Exciting.
I mean, everybody loves it.
You like cooking it?
Absolutely.
Derek, what was it you always used to talk about opening and wasn't in a pub?
Everyone loves it here. This is a huge success.
Why didn't you open your pub?
I don't know that I really wanted. I mean, that was such a long time ago.
When I fired you, I asked you what you wanted to do. You said you have a few rooms upstairs. A real English pub.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Nobody wants pubs around here. It's just a terrible investment.
What was going to be your signature dish?
Liver Scotch eggs with a honey curry mustard.
They're not real. You get that, right? None of it is real. The critics aren't real. The customers aren't real. Because this isn't real. You aren't real.
Okay.
Derek, why do you care about these people? They don't care about you. None of them. They don't even know you. Because you haven't shown them. Every day you'll wake up and there'll be less of you. You live your life for them and they don't even see you. You don't even see yourself. We don't get a lot of things to really care about.
How do you process that?
What you're doing every day, does it matter? Does it make a difference?
100%. I mean, obviously, I did what I did for a long, long time, and college athletics, like I guess many professions, has its critics, and kids don't go to school, and all the people care about money. You're paying people too much. You didn't win enough games, and you can get lost in all that stuff. And I think it's really important that again, people in the chair and people in leadership roles, we make it real. There are things we are doing that are really, really good and make it rewarding. We are impacting people's lives. We are changing people's lives. Are we perfect? No. Okay? But at the end of the day, when we put our head down at night, we're not just going out there. Despite what the critic says, we're not just going out there only caring about winning games. All right? Only caring about getting on TV. Only caring about making as much money as we can. The majority of us know what our job is, and we are there every day trying to change people's lives. And that's the one thing I loved about college athletics. You have a chance to do that. Again, do we do that 100%? Are we successful 100%? No. But we have a chance to impact people's lives, and I promise you, in my career, we did that a lot, and I guarantee in Heather's career, she's done it a lot, and that's what we continue to do.
You heard the coaches earlier credit you, Jeremy, for, it's not just the student athletes, but it's assistant coaches and others that you helped get into the profession. And so I think they were two examples sitting up here today of having been in your department.
If an athletic director said this to you and you were going to empathize with them and help get them out of this space, maybe even relate to them, he said, you know what's fucked up? People consider me a success. And every day I'm working hard to protect a job that I don't even like.
That's concerning, right?
You always attack it with humor first.
Well, if you don't really enjoy what you do, that's a core foundational concern.
Let me ask you this, if you were going to ask athletic directors across the country right now in the last year, what % do you think would say that they enjoy what they do?
Well, you hope a lot. Because the core business hasn't changed.
Can I challenge you?
Yeah.
I literally think if I asked that question,
yeah,
I would say 80% would say that they're not
enjoying it. The challenges are tough. The landscape has changed. The game has changed. The recruiting world has changed. A lot has changed, but it doesn't change the foundational enjoyment of connecting with young people and helping them reach their full potential, or, helping coaches have success. I mean, all the other things around it are, life is hard, right? So it's not meant to be it's not for it's tough, so you've got to keep moving forward, and approach each challenge as an opportunity. Hey, how are we going to change? How are we going to adapt? How are we going to play with masks? How are we going to tests, whatever it is. It hasn't been necessarily fun, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy what I do.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make, because I think they wouldn't say that they're not having fun or enjoy it. They're not having as much fun as they used to. And I think one of the reasons for that is they're dealing with some issues that they're, all of us got, we're goal-oriented. Let's fix this thing. Let's go on to the next thing. Let's hire this coach. Let's go win this game. Let's build this stadium. And current athletic directors are dealing with situations that right now, the fixed isn't apparent. I'm not saying it won't be fixed, but that's a really frustrating thing for all of us when we have a situation in our lives. We can't control it, and B, we don't have the answers. And that's the first time, I think, in my time in this business where I see that. So I would say to you, Brett, they're not having as much fun as they used to. But again, they're going to work, they're impacting athletes, they're watching games, they're trying to win games, they're doing some of the stuff they got in the business to begin with. But I guarantee you there's some things that are just sucking a little bit of the fun out of it that used to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So my question then, to piggyback off that, is there's one athletic, I'm just quoting athletic directors, okay? And then you guys just roll with it. They said that one thing that has been proven true to them, more than anything, the past 2 years, is that people don't regulate against self-interest. What do you think about that?
That we don't regulate against self-interest. Well, the challenge is, how do you look at the big picture and what's best for the future of college athletics, right? So everyone is self-interested, right? How is it going to impact me, my team, my university, my conference? And I do think that's one of the, without getting too, but the greatest challenges right now is how do you coalesce Power 5 conferences or Power 5 and Group of 5 conferences to do what's best for the world of college athletics? And where are the leaders that are going to step up to do that? And
but think about this. That's how many people start on a basketball team? 5.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just at an escalated level. So how do you get 5 people that have competing interests to buy into something for the greater good? It doesn't seem like that.
The concept of team is gone.
You said it, not me.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're alluding to?
What I'm saying is that how do you, if there's no uniformity, everyone's playing by different rules, so it's extremely chaotic for the AD. How do you keep peace of mind and not let that permeate your inner core?
Yeah, I would say, we've got to focus on the solutions. That's the reality of it. We have to focus on the solutions, and you've got to figure out who's going to help lead those solutions for the greater good of college sports. And if I'm a coach, what's the greater good for my team? And how do I not, don't lose your core value of the importance of the team. It's going to rub off on the kids at some point. There's always self-interest in life, but if you emphasize the importance of, there's no one person, one coach that wins it all, right? It's everybody has a role and have an impact, and we're all just one part of the bigger picture.
I think college athletics has always had trouble regulating self-interest. I think it's a little more pronounced right now, but again, did it a long, long time. You have coaches who didn't follow the rule book because they wanted to win, because if they win, they get satisfaction from that, and maybe could get big contracts. So tried to regulate them, and they didn't. You have players leaving early for the NBA. You have coaches who are ingrained in this school but can get more money at that school, so they leave, okay? So I think self-interest has always been present in college athletics, right? Obviously, I think the challenges are more now. I do think teams that are successful have the ability to create a team environment. But again, Brett, I think the issue with self-interest has been in college to the detriment. Don't get me wrong. It's not something that makes it fun, or, self-interest is hard for all of us when people care more about themselves than the organization, or the team. But I think that's always been present, to be honest with you.
And to your point, I think the challenge is like you said, it's more pronounced. So all the young people are looking at that, and that's what's being modeled to them. So how do you start the change if you were, because you're out of it now so you can see it a little bit more clearly. If you were back in it, how would you attack it?
Well, I would attack it. I mean, I'm not going to solve it, but I'm going to attack it. I was a big culture person. I was a big relationship person. I think you have to, when people are putting their self-interest above the University of Florida, that'd be a problem for me. So I would confront it, okay? I think you have to confront it by getting in front of people. I think you have to message what we're going to be about. You got to make people feel included. You have to communicate. You have to ask questions. I mean, it becomes almost a full-time job instead, just trying to raise money or balance budgets. You got to spend your time trying to bring people all on the same page, okay? And that gets more and more challenging, but I don't think you can just raise your hand and say, this is the way it's going to be, and everybody's self-interest and everybody, to each his own. I couldn't exist that way. I'm going to try to manage it in the sense that I'm going to make them understand how important it is for all of us to be moving in the same direction.
And I think everyone in this audience has been stretched this past year. And so this will be my last question for everyone is, there was an athletic director who I just asked her, would you marry you? And she said, hell no. And I said, why? And she goes, I'll give you an example. One of my staffers has been working to get pregnant for quite some time, finally happened. We said, this is the weekend that we are going to throw a baby shower. That same weekend, a football coach did something to a player that garnered national attention, and now her weekend is blown up because she has to deal with that, and she's got headphones in, taking calls and listening as she's pouring the champagne. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the job doesn't, there's things that are outside of your control that you have to manage. And sometimes those happen at the most inopportune times.
Does an event come to mind for you? For sure.
I had just taken my very first athletic director job at Eastern Michigan. We were moving into a home. We finally found a house, moving out of the president's house, which was a good thing. And moving into our home, at the house, the kids had finally gone to school. My husband's standing at the front door. The moving truck is coming down the street. They're going to be gone for the day so we can unpack. My cell phone rings, and it's the president of the university. And I was like, she knows I'm moving today. Why is she calling me? Like, I told her this, I'm going to take one day out, And she's like, hey, I have to let you know that one of your football players was shot and killed last night. And we're going to have, you have to, obviously. And so come down and meet with the team and all that. And I looked at my husband and I was like, I gotta go, where's the hairdryer? Like I had taken the kids to school. I was in sweats, because we were moving, and I said, where's the hairdryer? He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I need an outfit. And he's like, what do you mean you're leaving? And I said, yeah, that's the situation. So things happen.
It's a beautiful illustration of the intensity. Your reflections on that?
Yeah, if that happened to me one time, it happened to me 1,000 times in my career. And that's why I'm a former athletic director. And, but it's the nature of the business. It's part of our job to navigate those things. We run a big enterprise. We got 500 plus student athletes. We got coaches, high profile, and, life happens. And, obviously all organizations have to deal with stuff. I think a reflection of the organization is how you do deal with it. A reflection of as a leader is how you do deal with it. But you're not going to avoid that. And like I said, Heather's example, I have 1,000 of them only because I sat in the chair longer than hers. She's going to have a few more before she's said and done. But it's part of the gig.
And your advice to people out there that have a partner that is feeling the demands of the job, what would you say that you've learned?
It's called work. It's not called life. So keep it in perspective, I think, sometimes. I mean, it's hard because it is very consuming. But, my mom always said, you're going to work, you're not going to life. So keep that in perspective and, don't underestimate the importance of the people that are helping support you.
And one point on that is that obviously in athletics, and I'm sure all your jobs, we can come consumed with our lives and our professional lives. That's the way I was when I was younger. Win, win, win. We're going to be successful. We're going to get this done. We'll do it the right way. And finally, it clicked on me with the help of some of my staff. You have to be really intentional about work-life balance.
How old were you?
Oh, I was, I'd been AD for 10 years at that point in time, 10 or 12 years. I'm halfway through my tenure. And, we are going to, grind. Yes, you can take a week off here and, go play golf this afternoon. And it finally flipped where you realize you have to be intentional about it personally. Schedule your workouts, schedule your vacations. Take them, all right? The work will be there when you get back. Someone needs a day off, they go. Someone needs just don't make that grind such a priority. Work-life balance is important, and you all know that. But what I don't think enough people do in a leadership role is make it intentional, encourage it. I learned something from Nike. Nike, if you're at Nike for 10 years, and you're a certain level, they make you take a month off. They make you do it, okay? And when I get that's an extreme example, but this concept is the same, is I understand the value of people taking care of themselves, living their lives, being around their families. And as I said, I think it has to be very intentional and part of leadership.
And there's a great line. It says that coaching is an excuse to not live. Think about that for a second. How do you think about that?
Well, probably some truth to that. I mean, going back to what I just said, we put a system in place at Florida that I would pay. This sounds ludicrous, I get it, okay? Because these coaches make a lot of money, but it means we're invested in them, and good coaches are hard to come by, and burnout that I've lived with does not help the organization. I used to pay for it. Here's money. I want you to go for 2 weeks, okay? Because you're right. Every coach will find another reason to call another recruit, go on another recruiting trip, one more practice, one more phone call, and they don't live their lives. And that's where I go back to the intentionality part. Sometimes we got to help people get out of their own way.
Let's give it up for them.
Thank you, Brett.